Everyone, welcome to Our Mixed Media Moods, the monthly challenge between Deedee Catron and myself, where we take a mood board created by one of us and make projects. This is this month's mood board, and Deedee made this one. And I'm starting out in my Strathmore visual journal with some Lindy Stamp Gang Magicals in Teapot Purple, Cheshire Cat Cherry, and Curiouser Chartreuse. And I'm also going to use some Lindy's Flat Fabio in Urban Amethyst, Luscious Lemon, and also a Dilutions ink spray in Laid Back Lilac. I know it seems like a lot, but I'm trying to capture that purple pinkish color in the mood board, and then there's also like some pops of yellow in the picture of the cactus in the upper left hand corner, so that's why I have so many products. And I'm starting out with the Magicals, which are essentially a pigment powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle them on my page with a dry paintbrush and then activate them by spraying water on them. And then I'm going to add some pops of the Laid Back Lilac, the dilution spray, and it's really pigmented, so I'm going to use a lot of water to blend it out and make it more soft in the background. Then I'm going to add a little bit of those Flat Fabios, the Luscious Lemon and the Urban Amethyst, and also spray those out quite a bit. Here I have a Viva Las Vegas stamp by Cat Kerr. I don't remember the name of it, but I'm going to stamp that on tissue paper. And the reason I'm stamping it on tissue paper is I wasn't sure if I would be able to get a crisp image on my background. Before I do that though, I'm taking some Letter It ink from Ranger in Shadow Gray and this Waybill stamp from Viva Las Vegas Stamps, and I'm going to stamp that all over my background. And like I was saying about the tissue paper, I stamped my stamp on the tissue paper to make sure first that I could get a crisp image. And oh, the mood board has a picture of tassels, so I'm going quite literal and taking a stamp of tassels. It gets covered up in the end, but I saw that I had it, so I thought I'd add it because it's on the mood board. And I'm going to take some a paintbrush with some water on it to tear apart my flowers on the tissue paper. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to sandwich it in between some matte medium on my page, and it seems like when you have a torn edge as opposed to like a straight cut edge, it helps the tissue paper disappear better into the background. So I'm going to position them around the page, and then I thought maybe I could just stamp it and it would be okay. So I'm going to take the stamp and stamp it on my background, and I do not get a crisp image, so I'm just going to try to line up the tissue paper right on top of where I stamped to cover it up. And then you can see the stamp like it should be. So I'm taking some matte medium down on my page, putting the tissue paper down, and then putting matte medium on top. And that will make the tissue paper all but disappear into the background, and all you can see is the stamp. I like doing this technique because you're sure to get a crisp image every time. So now I have some Ranger texture paste and a stencil. I got it in one of those sets at Michael's. They have sets of like kits from Ranger. They have a Tim Holtz one with distress spray stain, which is where I got this stencil. And then they also have like a Dilutions one, and basically they're kits with mini sized products so that you can make projects. And this stencil is from the Tim Holtz distress spray stain set. Whew. So I'm just gonna put that all around like the edges of my page. This is some Dilutions paint in Laid Back Lilac, the same color as the spray. And I have a stencil. It's like got all kinds of geometric shapes and circles and stuff. And my mother gave it to me, so I'm not exactly sure where it came from. So I'm going to stencil some circles on my page. And first I'm going in with one layer of just the Laid Back Lilac. And I'm going to do the 3 circles at the bottom of my page. And then I'm going to dry that first layer and then go in with the second layer of just the laid back lilac. The first layer kind of covered everything up, but I don't want to be able to see any of the background through my circle. So the second layer makes it so that you can't see what's going on in the background. Then I'm going to dry that, and I'm going to take a, first I'm going to make little smaller circles up at the top, just kind of balance things out. And I'm going to take a makeup sponge, and I have some gesso on my palette also. I want to try to make like a highlight on my circles. So I'm taking the makeup sponge, and in the top half I'm putting gesso, and the bottom half I'm putting the laid back lilac. So essentially it's got both colors on the makeup sponge at the same time, and then I'm just going to pounce that up and down to try to get a little bit of a gradient. Now I'm taking a plastic arrow from Tim Holtz and covering it with some Finnabair. This is called Sparks paint. I got it from Michael's. I think it's called Butterfly Spell. It's like a nice pink color. And now I have a charcoal pencil, and I'm just going to add a little shadow line in the lower right hand corner of my circles, and I'm just going to use my finger to kind of like blend out the charcoal pencil. And now for my journaling, I'm using a black Jelly Roll pen. Yeah, this is the Finnabair Sparks paint in Butterfly Spells. So I'm just going to take a dry paintbrush that has like very stiff bristles and get a little bit of paint on the paintbrush, and then I'm just kind of holding it like a little parallel to my page and brushing it over the raised areas of the texture paste, so that the paint kind of catches just on the texture paste. I don't want it on like the background paper of the page. I just want it on the raised areas. And now I have these acetate tiles from Tim Holtz. They're like alphabet, I think they're called transparent alpha tiles. And I also have a paper doll from Tim Holtz. And I popped a piece of lace on the back of my arrow. I added the arrow because there's some arrows in the mood board. Just another element I'm trying to pull in. And then I'm taking some gloss gel. Now I would use matte gel, but I don't have any, so I'm using the gloss gel because I'm going to add some of the Finnabair art stones, and the matte gel would completely disappear, but the gloss, you can still see a little bit of a gloss once it dries, hence the name gloss gel. But it's all I have. So I'm going in with the medium and the small art stones, just a little bit around the arrow and around the feet of the little girls. And I'm going to add some splatters of the laid back lilac. And then I'm also going to add some, I really just wanted to see how the art stones picked up color, because this is the first time I've ever used them, and I was surprised they soaked up the color really well. And once I got started, I couldn't stop, so I added color all over the lace and all over the bottom of my arrow, and I really could have skipped this step because I really liked the way they looked not colored. But sometimes once I get started, I can't stop. And then I'm going in with some glass bead gel and adding little touches of that around the arrow as well. And I'm saying to myself, stop, don't do too much, but my hand isn't listening, and I put glass bead gel all around the arrow. So this is my finished project. I hope you enjoyed it. And I encourage you to also make a project using the mood board. I will link our Facebook group down below if you want to join us there. That would be fantastic. And if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below. And there will be a product list up for this video eventually. So thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.